How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Lamed Daled, Daf 34 of Masechet Nedarim, friends. Daf 34 it talks about, when people aren't allowed to get benefit from one another, and then returning lost objects, and like how the value needs to go to hektish. Fun stuff. Well, alright, we're gonna start on Daf Lamed Gimel Amud Beis, by the two dots, kind of like halfway through the Amud, but kind of, in kind of Nedarim-y ways. The Amud isn't that big to begin with. So, alright, so like halfway through the page, at the two dots, Machzulo Savidasu. So if you have people not allowed to get benefit, we're gonna see in a second who's not allowed to get benefit from who, or discuss that question of who we're talking about. Anyways, so we're saying you can do Hashavas Aveda, and then we said that if it's in a place where the minig is that the finder gets a fee when he returns a lost object, so that value goes to hektish. So we got to figure out what we're talking about, right? So it says the Gemara, Pligi bar Reb Ami v'Reb Asi. So if machlokas Reb Ami and Reb Asi, Chad Omer. So one opinion is Lo shanu elo b'shenichsei machzir asurin al bal aveda. Okay. Friends, you hear that? So the Mishnah had said So the Mishnah had said that even in a situation where you can't get benefit, so you can nonetheless do Hashavas Aveda. So says the Gemara, it's Machlokus Reb Ami and Reb Asi, that when we say that you could do Hashavas Aveda, that's only b'shenichsei machzir asurin al bal aveda. That's only when the loser is not allowed to get benefit from the finder. When the loser is not allowed to get benefit from the finder can nonetheless return the object to the loser. Because after all, the finder isn't benefiting the loser. The loser lost something and he's getting it back. He's not getting any added value. So in that case, when the loser is forbidden from getting value from getting benefit from the finder can return the lost object to the loser, because the loser isn't getting benefit from the finder. He's just getting back what he lost. He's not getting any added value. Avo. However, in the opposite scenario, if it were nichse ba'alaveda asurin al machzir, but if it's the finder who is not permitted to get benefit from the loser, well, in that case, the finder cannot return the lost object to the loser. Lo kama'adele, the finder does not return it. How come? Dika mehanile puta de Rav Yosef, because he might be benefiting the pruta, the amount of a pruta of Rav Yosef. What does that mean? It means that there is a concept of osik b'mitzvah potam in a mitzvah, that a fellow who's engaged in performing a mitzvah is exempt from doing other mitzvahs at the time that he's doing the current mitzvah. And therefore, if the finder is forbidden from getting benefit from the loser, and then the finder, of course, has found an item belonging to the loser, and then he is going to return it to the loser, so he is doing a mitzvah right now, Hashavas Aveda. If at this very moment a poor fellow comes to the finder asking for tzedakah, the finder is busy doing Hashavas Aveda and he's patur from the mitzvah of giving tzedakah. And therefore, the finder, who is not allowed to get any benefit from the loser, by returning this lost object to the loser, and then being exempt from giving charity to this poor person who's asking for money, the finder is now saving money. Right? He's exempt from giving tzedakah. He's now saving money on account of the loser. So he's basically, the loser is benefiting now the finder. So we had a situation where the finder is now allowed to get benefit from the loser, and now by returning this lost object, he is getting benefit from the loser, because on account of the loser who lost the thing and he's now returning it to him, he's patur from giving tzedakah and he's saving this money, and now he benefited the value of the tzedakah that he otherwise would have been obligated to give. You hear that? So therefore, in that case, the finder is not allowed to return the lost object to the loser, just in case a poor person would ask for tzedakah at the time, and he would be also mitzvah, pater min mitzvah, and he would be benefiting from the loser. Friends, you hear that? Whereas the other opinion is afilu nichse balaveda asurin al machzer, even in a situation where the finder is forbidden from getting benefit from the loser, nonetheless, mehaderle, the finder can nonetheless return a lost object to the loser, and we're not concerned, meaning on account of the concern that a poor person might come punkt at the time that he's returning the lost object to the loser and if we benefit from the loser, lo shchiach. It's not common that exactly is going to happen, and therefore the finder can return the lost object to the loser even if he's not allowed to get benefit from the loser. Tanan. Now we ask a kasha that we learned in our Mishnah, that in a place where the finder would collect a fee for returning a lost object to the loser, tipol hanoya lehektish, so that value goes to hektish. Okay, so b'shlomo l'manda omer afilu b'shenichse ba'al aveda asurim al machzir nami mahader hanediktani makom shenotlin oleh asocher tipol hanoya lehektish. So again, let's read that again. So Bishlam Lamanda Omer. So I understand according to the opinion who says, Afilu b'shenichse ba'al aveda asurim al machzir nami mahader, that even in a situation where the finder is prohibited from getting benefit from the loser, nonetheless he can return it, and the assumption is that neither one is actually allowed to get benefit from the other, right? The finder can't get benefit from the loser can't get benefit from the finder. So I understand why any finder's fee, right, any fee that we paid to the finder would have to ultimately go to hekdish, because nobody's allowed to get benefit from each other. So Memele goes to hekdish. Elo lemanda omar kishenichse bal aveda asurim al machzer lo mahader. But if you say that when the property of the loser is forbidden on the finder, right? So when the finder is forbidden, right? If the finder is not allowed to get benefit from the loser, and we're saying in that case he doesn't return the lost object because we're concerned about Pruta Dur of Yosef. So, Amai, Tipal Anoy Lehektish. So then why do we say that the benefit needs to go to Hektish? Right? Meaning, if we're saying that when it's in the situation where the finder is forbidden from getting benefit from the loser, so he's not allowed to return it, so Memele is not returning it, and there's no fee to be spoken of. So it's going to have to be talking about a situation where the loser is not permitted to get benefit from the finder. And we're saying that even though the loser is not permitted to get benefit from the finder can nonetheless return it because he's just giving him back that which he lost. So if that's the case, then why can't the loser pay the finder the finder's fee? Right? Right, it's the loser who's not allowed to get benefit from the finder can get benefit from the loser. So therefore, when the finder returns the thing to the loser will pay the fee to the finder, let him keep it. Why does he have to give it to Hektish? So the Gemara says, Achada Katani. Well, actually, no, you're going to say that it's talking about the situation where the loser is forbidden from getting benefit from the finder, right? The loser is forbidden from getting benefit from the finder. And we say that nonetheless, the finder is allowed to return it to the loser because he's just returning that which he had lost. He's not giving any added value. Okay. So now we say, okay, but then why does the finder's fee have to go to Hektish, right? Can't the loser just pay the finder fee and let him keep it? Why does he have to pay to Hektish? Well, what happens in a situation where the finder says, forget it, I don't need this fee, keep it. Well, in that case, the loser will be benefiting from the finder when he says you can keep it. And in that case, it would have to go to hektish because he can't keep it, because then he'd be benefiting from the finder, and he's not allowed to be benefiting from the finder, so therefore he has to give it to hektish. Okay, fine, very good. So we want to try and ask a kasha to say that if you say that when the finder is not allowed to get benefit from the loser, so he's not allowed to return it. So maybe it's talking about where the loser is not allowed to get benefit from the finder, so let him pay the fee anyways. So we say, yeah, but if he waives it, so then the loser would be benefiting from the finder. So we say in that case, the loser would have to give the money to hektish. Alright. What do you want me to tell you? Friends, it's shtickle spaghetti over here. Friends, you ready? We're going to do punkt verkehrt now. Now we're going to do the opposite. What does that mean? Ige de masnilo b'hailishna. There are those who teach it in the following way. Pligi b'Reb Ami v'Reb Asi. So, okay, again, it's machlokas Reb Ami v'Reb Asi. But now this time, Chad Omar, according to one opinion, Lo shanu elo b'shenichse ba'al aveda asurin al machzir. So, when we say that they can return the lost object, so that's only talking about b'shenichse ba'al aveda asurin al machzir, when the finder is forbidden from getting benefit from the loser. In that case, according to this version, in that case, the finder is permitted to return the lost object to the loser. And we're not concerned that punkt at that time, a poor fellow is going to come and ask for money, and it's also mitzvah patur and mitzvah, he's going to be benefiting from the loser. We're not concerned. So in a situation where the finder is forbidden from getting benefit from the loser, so then the finder can return the lost object. But if it's punkt verkehrt, if it's that the loser is not allowed to get benefit from the finder, well, in that case, lo mahadele, mishum deka mahanile. So then the finder should not be returning the lost object to the loser, because the loser will be benefiting from the finder. And v'chad omar afilu nichse machzir asum abal aveda, whereas the other opinion is that no, even if the loser is forbidden from getting benefit from the finder, mutter, the finder can still return it, because at the end of the day, the finder is just returning to the loser his own thing, right? Like we said earlier, right? So according to this opinion, even if the loser is not allowed to get benefit from the finder can nonetheless return the lost object to the loser, because the loser is not getting any added value. It's just getting back what he had lost. Now, we have some kasha from our Mishnah. Tanan, makom shenotlen oleh asocher, that in a place where there's a finder's fee, tipol anoy lehektish, so the value goes to hektish. B'shlom l'man da'omer afilu b'shenichse machzer asuma balaveda mehader. So I understand according to the man da'omer, who says that even when the property of the finder are forbidden on the loser, nonetheless the finder can return it, right? So when the loser is not allowed to get benefit from the finder, the finder can nonetheless return the lost object. And we're saying Hanu Dimitaritz Makum, right? And that's where we're saying that the finder's fee goes to hektish, because we're right in a situation where the finder waives it, and then it would go back to the loser, and then the loser would have to give it to hektish. Also, right? So, but in a situation where the property of the returner are forbidden on the loser, right? So when the loser is not allowed to get benefit from the finder, so you don't do Hashavas Aved in that case, you don't return it. So then Eichi Mitaretz Makum, right? So if the loser is not allowed to get benefit from the finder, so if we're saying that in that case you don't return it, so then how do you understand the situation of it going to hektish, right? We're saying that when the loser cannot get benefit from the finder, so he's not returning it in the first place. So it must be talking about when the finder is not allowed to get benefit from the loser. And that's where he's returning it. And we're saying that the benefit, right, that the money has to go to hektish. Why does the money have to go to hektish? Why can't the finder keep it? He's not getting benefit. He's just getting paid back for his investment, right, the time that he took to return the lost object. Why can't he, right, why does it have to go to hektish? So kashas. Say it's time to go to kasha on that opinion. Okay, friends, that was like a shtickle of spaghetti over there, with those different opinions and very spaghetti type. Amar Rava says, Rava, I saw the fun of kikar shel hefker. If before him was a loaf of hefker, an ownerless loaf, V'amar kikar zo hektish, and he says, this ownerless loaf over here, I'm making it hektish. He goes to the Beis Hamikdash, can't get any benefit from it. Not the la'ochla, if he then afterwards takes it to eat it, ma'al fikula. So he's mo'il, right? He's getting benefit from hektish. He has to pay the value of the loaf, is to pay the value plus a fifth. But Lorisha Levanov, if he took it, but not to keep it for himself, but to give it to his kids, so he's over Me'ila, but only to the extent that, he's not keeping it for himself, he's just going to give it to his kids. So he's only over Me'ila to the extent that, he sort of gets like, kudos points. What's it? Clout? Kudos points? Because he's like, doing something good for his kids. So these kids are like, yo, dad, you're awesome. And so like that value is the value he has to give to the Beis Hamikdash, but not the value of the loaf, because he's not valuing from and benefiting from it. His kids are. Friends, that was daf Lamed Aleph Masechta Nedarim. Shtickle spaghetti. We were learning the sugya of people who are not allowed to get benefit returning lost objects. We saw two versions of a machlokas between Rav Ami and Rav Asi. In the first version, one opinion is that regardless of who's not allowed to get benefit from who, you could still return the lost object. But the other opinion is that only when the loser is not allowed to get benefit from the finder can the finder return it, because he's just returning to the loser that which he lost, but he's not getting any added benefit. But if the finder is not allowed to get benefit from the loser, so he cannot return it because we're concerned about maybe a poor person will be collecting money at that time, fine. According to the other opinion, it was punkt fakert, right? One opinion was that, either one could return it, but the other opinion was that only in a situation where the finder is not allowed to get benefit from the loser can he return it. I mean, we're not concerned about the poor person coming to the door at the time. But if it's punkt fakert, if it's that the loser is not allowed to get benefit from the finder, how could the finder return it? The loser is going to be benefiting from it. So, right, from getting the lost object. So, friends, that was Daf Lamed Aleph Masechta Nedarim. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.